Hello there, fellow plumber. Today we're talking about my biggest problems with a 7-person plumbing company. That's where I'm at right now. I've got 7 people on payroll, actually 8 people on payroll. My wife is a CFO as well, and she helps run payroll with all the finances. And a lot has changed because it not too long ago was just yours truly, me, doing everything. I figured this video might be relatable, helpful, and if you're in the same boat, say you're in the 5 to 7 people company or maybe even a little bigger, please drop a comment, reach out to me. I would love to connect because I need other service plumbers, especially in my zone, to connect with and kind of bounce things off of, because there's always something to learn. Number 1, biggest problems. I don't have anything written down other than just the hot points that I thought of about 10 minutes before making this video. So straight from the heart. But number 1, I would say, is alignment. As you get more people, everybody's got they're in their own stages of life. And, you know, some people are younger and they're really just chasing the dollar or trying to have fun. Some people are trying to support their family. At the end of the day, everybody's out here and they want to be good people, but they're kind of out here for themselves. I mean, that's a pretty common theme, I think, worldwide. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're trying to grow a company, you need a team, which means you need to get people to kind of work together and focus on the same goals. And one thing I've noticed is heads get butted, feelings get hurt, people feel out of place or that they're being maybe picked on in a way. And you try to avoid that, but if you're in where I'm at, you know what I mean. It's always something. And so we've tried to create really strong goals and make everybody realize at the end of the day, we're on a team. We're trying to help the business, Onnit Plumbing, grow. And in order to do that, everybody wins. We're making the pie bigger. We're not trying to slice the pie up. That's the goal. And some people, you know, need to perform better, and it's a complex situation because at the same time as the owner, you're in charge, and if somebody has to get cut, you have to make that call, and you still want to give people as much chance as possible. So number 1, I would say, is alignment. That's a hard problem as you start growing. When it's just you can take care of every customer with the same, you know, intent and meaning, and as you grow, you hope your technicians represent that, and you really try to encourage it. So every Monday we have a meeting. I think that helps try to keep everybody focused, and we have some kind of non-negotiable like rules that we try to follow by, and just try to systematize things as best as possible and encourage everyone to work together. Number 2, motivation. Kind of goes similar to the first one, but one thing you'll notice with technicians is Monday they're raring to go, ready to go make money. By Thursday or Friday, even worse, they're burnt out and they're tired of working and they're ready for the weekend. And the problem with that, especially with us as service plumbing, if I send you out to a clogged toilet, I need you to do a thorough job. Just had a situation like this. You need to snake it, put paper down there, make sure that it's actually clear. Because what could happen is there could be something stuck in that toilet, and if you didn't pull it and actually visually inspect it, you're going to be getting a callback. We just had that happen. It was a lid that went in there. And it's not really the technician's fault, but it's just hard to get them to treat it like it's their own. Every day can be a little different. And you hope that they'll pick that up and learn. Another good example is, you know, you might have a water leak or something, and instead of trying to put the extra effort in to find it and fix it, we'll call leak detection. They'll be out there next week, and then you lose the job. We had an example like that recently. So what's hard is, you know, as the owner, you're always you work your butt off, and if you go to a call, you're going to make it happen. You're going to put in. You're just always going to put in more effort than an employee, and that's to be expected to an extent. But sometimes you really do have guys that just thrive, and then you got people that they're doing the best they can in their opinion, but maybe they're just not quite they don't quite have as much output. So you're going to run into that where it's just you're going to have your strong players and your weaker players, and then when things get slow, you have to make the judgment call of like who's going to be laid off or cut, and that's what's tough. I haven't really had to do that much yet, but I can see in the wintertime if things got slow, I can see where that would happen. We've had to lose we've had to trim a little bit of fat over time, but we've been pretty lucky. And it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal. You think that you're going to hire people and they're going to make your lives easier. And look at me. I'm not in a crawl space right now. I was yesterday. But you ultimately just get more work, more phone calls, more stress. So you're not going to, we're going to work our way to where we can have vacations and have that freedom lifestyle. But just know that you're going to be trading one thing for another. There won't necessarily be less stress, but there will be, you can work your way up if that's what you want. Just know that that's what you want. Sitting in the office has its ups and its downs. Number 3 is scheduling. When you run a service plumbing business, it is a nightmare. When I say that, I say it a little facetiously. I love it. Like, I really do love running the business. But when it comes to scheduling, man, we've got, like, tomorrow, we've got 3 guys ready to run calls. We've only got 2 calls on the books for tomorrow. Last week, on Friday, we had, like, 7 or 8 calls that all needed to be done right away. So get ready for a roller coaster, because one week they're going to say, I need more work. And the next week it's like they're going to be so burned out, because it is just a up and down roller coaster. And that's something that it's just with service work, I think it's kind of unavoidable. So you just need to try to get to every call you can as quick as possible and give them the best service possible. And that's a tough thing to do. Number 4, callbacks. I absolutely hate callbacks. And you have callbacks when you're a one-man show and you go fix them and they suck. But when you have 3 or 4 guys running calls, just realize that statistically you're going to have 3 to 4 times the amount of callbacks. Now the problem is the callbacks generally don't happen on the easy jobs. It's stuff that's either more complicated, things that only you as the owner would figure out because you've been doing it longer, or the guys are booked making good money on new calls and you just decide, well, I'm in the office and I can go deal with this drippy, faucet or whatever it was that was a callback. So you end up going out in the field to deal with the callbacks, or because the customer just felt like they weren't served well, and so you want to make sure that on that follow-up trip you get it right. And that's kind of an issue. That can be a problem with the with having a lot of techs. So be prepared to have a lot more callbacks when you grow. It's kind of common sense statistically, mathematically, it makes sense. 4 times the amount of calls getting done, you're going to have 4 times the amount of callbacks. And unfortunately, you're probably going to have 4 times the amount of frustrated customers with you. I try my best. I recently just had a situation where I had to fire a customer, and it was our fault too. We had technicians make mistakes. We tried to make them right. Once a mistake is made, it's really hard to regain the trust of a customer. And unfortunately, this was one of those things where mistakes were made originally and they were righted, but then other thing, like there was unrelated stuff to the work we did, or if it was, I ended up getting cussed at and yelled at on the phone and then hung up on. There's nowhere you can go from that. So ultimately, we had to call it for what it was, which was, it was time to end that relationship with that customer. I hate that. I really do. I wish them the best. I feel bad that it happened that way, but when we deal, I want to say, let's see, 3 times 4, 12 times 5, 5 times 50 times 4. That's like, we're probably going through anywhere from 1 to 200 calls, 150 to 200 calls a month. And that's a lot of people's houses you're in and out of working. It really is. And so you could have 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I try to shoot for 10 out of 10. People be happy, but all it takes is 1. And it really ruins your day, dude. It's a roller coaster. You have to deal with it. It happens. And still, I just can't stand. That's what gives me the biggest ups and downs. You really got to like work out in the morning, I think. Try to go on walks. Try to shut your phone down here and there. Figure out what you need to do to balance your mental capacity, because if you can't get that right, you're gonna end up driving yourself crazy. So got off on a little bit of a rant there, but number 5, this is just now like more coming to my attention of how big of a deal this is. But organization and stocking. So now I'm going to have to set up another system, which I did originally and nobody was really following it. So now I have to become kind of an ass again and get on everybody. But stocking the van, man. You go, like we just had an example. We go to a job to change out a dishwasher in an RV. It was a little weird, but we got it. But, you know, we go to put the Y piece in for the dishwasher drain. And my guy's like, I don't have one. And it, you know, should have been on there. And who knows, you know, was it not stocked there from the get? I think it was, but let's just say it wasn't. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, lists need to be made, things need to be restocked. I could take the blame for it, but at the end of the day, that is a huge one. It's making sure those vans are fully stocked for every job. I've seen it every week. I see the technicians waste probably 5 to 10 hours altogether of drive time to go get parts, and probably 70% of that should be avoidable. 60% of that's avoidable. So make sure you've got a good system. I don't, but make sure you try to get a good system for them being organized, because it looks better for the customer. It's easier to be more efficient on the job, so it saves you time on the job, and then having the right parts to get the job done, so you're not driving all over to get material. And as you get bigger, you will notice that is so hard. It doesn't seem like it would be hard. I have a program called Slack where it's like, just put the parts down at the end of every job when you use them. It doesn't seem that hard, but it's harder than you'd think to get everybody on the same page of just stocking the vans and keeping them clean. So then number 6 kind of has to do with scheduling, but yeah, it's calls. You get more guys, you need more calls. That can be stressful, because you're either going to have it's very rare that we have days where I'm like, that's the perfect amount of calls. You know, the guy gets one done and another one comes in. That's very rare. Most of the time what happens is 5 calls come in and they're all emergencies, and your guys are already on jobs, and then that's when you go out in the field again as the owner, which I shouldn't do, but I do. Or the next day happens, there's no calls. We've got it pretty good right now. I wonder how winter's going to go this year, because we're just in such weird times right now. But the calls, man, trying to have consistent calls come in and being able to keep your guys busy, that's a very stressful part of growing a plumbing business. Is you go from like being totally fine on 1, 2, or 3 calls a day as a one-man show, and then the creep sets in. Pretty soon you're doing 3 calls, 4 calls. You're like, I need help. And then you get that extra help, and it's like, now I got to have them do calls on their own, because that's a journey in itself. And then just, you got to keep them busy once they can run calls. So the calls can be a definite struggle as well, let's say. Number 7 kind of ties into the motivation thing, but also it's money tracking, okay? I don't want to get into specifics, but it's not uncommon to spend $20,000 to $30,000 in two weeks as a 2 to 3 weeks as a and that's just on credit cards, and then you got payroll. So let's just say you could be spending $100,000 plus every month just to keep your business going. And I mean, I had a pest control business as a one-man show for a long time, and I could live on $4,000 to $5,000 a month total, maybe $6,000, $7,000 on a really good month total for the whole month. And now it honestly creates some anxiety in me because, yeah, money's coming in, but you can have, I'm not kidding, you can have $100,000 go out in a month. If I think I've had more, and that's it gets your heart going a little bit, man. There's upsides to it, but it's kind of scary. I mean, that's a lot of money. And when you came from where I come from, where you're pretty humble, don't have a ton of money, and then pretty soon you're writing this kind of money out, it's kind of scary, okay? It's kind of scary. So money tracking, and then you just got to keep your guys honest. My guys are performance paid, so on a said job they're going to get paid a set price. So if they do convert a job to a water heater replacement, they're going to get X. Whereas if they just do a repair on it, they're going to get X. And it's not an hourly; it's a set rate per sale item. And we always try to tell them to give options. The minimum, middle, best. And, some of them do really well with that, but then, you have to track that. So then every Thursday, my wife when we do payday, it's a chaos for her for like 3 hours trying to track everything and make sure nobody messed up, which we had a mistake made. Two mistakes made this week. One was on the technician would have come out making more than they actually earned. And then on the other one, the technician actually forgot to put a job down that he should have got. So he would have ended up shorted, and then the other one would have ended up ahead. And, it's your job. Well, it's their job to do it right, but then it's your job to double check it and know that you've got it right. And, yeah, it's chaos. So if I haven't scared you away yet, then that's good. But, it really is a blessing. We've been able to do a lot more things that we weren't able to. And to be fair, even though I've got a lot more maybe stress in my life, I've also got the ability to go do small, I wouldn't say big things, but small things. Like my kids, it's hot out, and so they've been in the house a lot lately. And my wife's been helping today because of payroll. And I saw them sitting inside watching TV, and I'm like, no, I've been cramped up all day. Let's go on a walk. So I took the truck to the local hiking trail. We went on about a mile and a half walk with my little daughter and my younger son. And we had a good time, connected. I took him to the market to get some drinks and, stuff like that. I can go pop out for an hour or two if I need to. If I have some sort of family event, like tomorrow there's a wedding rehearsal, I can pop out and the jobs are getting done. But it's a double-edged sword because then you're the last line of defense. So that's what I've got for today's video. I could keep rambling. I don't think it's necessary. And like I said, I partially wanted to post this video to kind of let you know what types of problems you will run into as you grow. I also more selfishly wanted to post this video because if any of you out there are in the same boat as me, running the same type of business, please drop a comment. Let's connect. Maybe even do like a live video together for other people, because I think we could learn a lot from each other, and I can always use the help. I'll see you on the next one, everybody.